Hi, my name is Erica Choate, and this is a presentation on simple regression analysis for institutional research. So here are some of the basics of a simple regression analysis. This analysis estimates the linear relationship between the independent and dependent variable, and whereas a multiple regression analysis would deal with more than two variables, a simple regression only will deal with two, which are the independent and dependent. The data for this is intervally scaled, and the parametric requires normal distribution, and the data must be equally scattered. So here are some applications for a simple regression analysis in institutional research. The test hypothesis regarding the relationship between specific individual and dependent variables. They estimate correlation coefficients showing how changes in independent and dependent variables are affected. So it shows how the independent variable affects the dependent variable. And in a simple regression, we can derive predictions from the dependent variable. Here are some assumptions that must be met. The dependent variable must be continuous. The independent variables are uncorrelated with each other and the error term. And the error term has a mean of 0, constant variance, and the errors are uncorrelated with each other. So how can we use a simple regression in education? So some things that we can measure are we can take a look at senior high school students. We can take a look at their GPA, and we can use their senior level GPA to predict what their freshman level GPA in college will be. And then we can also take a look at recent college graduates, and we can predict their starting salary for their first job based on their graduating GPA. So the regression line, also known as the line of best fit, this is a straight line that describes how variable y changes as variable x changes. It shows how much and in what direction the response variable changes when the explanatory variable changes. And most points are not located exactly on the line. So here we have an example of self-esteem based on GPA. So essentially what we're asking here is, does GPA explain self-esteem? And so as you can see here, GPA is the explanatory variable and it belongs on the x-axis, and self-esteem is the response variable and it lies on the y-axis. So as you can see here, these are all the individual points on the graph, and then this is the line of best fit. And most of these points are not on the line specifically, but this line is just showing us a prediction that as GPA increases, self-esteem also increases. And so here we're going to take a look at a visual example. It's a little game called Guess the Correlation, and it is accessible to you guys if you guys would like to play as well. So essentially what we're looking at doing here is we're trying to guess R based on this graph. And so this graph is pretty, first of all, we can see the direction it's moving is up and to the right. So that means we know this is a positive correlation. But when we look at all the data is pretty spread out from each other. So what we do is we make the prediction, we guess the correlation, and if we get it close enough, we get to keep our lives. So let's go ahead and guess 0.56. So the true R was 0.68, so I was a little bit off. And let's try another one. So this one is pretty scattered. We can't really see much of a direction. We can tell that it's still positive, but all the points are pretty scattered all over the place. So I'm going to take a guess at 0.48. Let's see what happens. So I got pretty close. True R was 0.44. Then I guessed 0.48 with a difference of 0.04. And the mean error was 0.08. So this is just a little bit of a visual exercise that you could do if you ever want to practice a little bit more with a simple regression line and predictions. This concludes my presentation. Here are my references. I hope this helped you guys out a little bit with learning about simple regression, what it does, what it can be used for, and thank you for your time.